This episode is sponsored by Anne Lehman. Hello and welcome back to Film Pro Productivity and Success, the podcast that helps film professionals and other creative people to live a more focused, effective and happy life. My name is Carter Ferguson and this is episode 110. The prophet isn't recognised in his own land. Familiarity breeds contempt. Aesop, unquote. If you've ever felt like you don't get the attention or respect or rewards that you deserve from the people who you know well, you're not alone. And today I'll be looking at some of the reasons why. And I don't want to get all religious on you in case it scares some of you off, but the context is relevant to what I'll be discussing here today. The phrase, "a prophet is not without honour save in his own country," is spoken by Jesus in the Bible passage Mark 6:4 in reference to the fact that the people of Nazareth refused to believe in him as a prophet. Maybe you've even heard the saying, "no one is a prophet in their own land," which has its origins in Luke 4:24. Or, "for Jesus himself testified that a prophet has no honour in his own country," John 4:44. I first heard this as the prophet is not recognised in his own land, but it all amounts to the same thing, that to win respect as a figure of authority or knowledge within your own community, whatever size that community may be, is a very difficult thing, as the people there will not feel like you have the right to preach to them. This could be within a family dynamic or a work environment or even within a whole industry. And I've sometimes come across it, certainly within film and television projects. Time and again, I bump into creative folk too that work really hard at what they do and have a recognisable talent, but they just can't seem to get an even break when it comes to funding or even getting an interview for a gig in their own home country, but who gain success and notoriety abroad. I see them struggle and fret and rage quietly to themselves, and I've done it myself on occasion, although I'd obviously never say that I was prophetic, but I've had my skills and experience dismissed in favour of someone else's ideas just because that person was not known within the community. Brian Larkin and I made a short film called Dead End. He's off making more of those now as he's trying to pull together a feature, which I'm not involved in. But he's off doing his thing, which is all great. But that original Dead End did extremely well on the international film festival circuit. It was accepted into 30 international festivals. It was nominated for multiple awards in 22 of those festivals. And it came away at the end of it all with a total of 51 wins, including several Best Director awards for myself, several Best Actor and Editor awards for Brian. He's an excellent editor, by the way. And several wins here and there, too, for Best Film. And do you know how many film festivals we were successfully accepted into in Scotland? I'll let you fill in the gap with this one. How many? We applied for 3. I'll give you... It's less than 3. The answer's none. None. Not one. Now, as I say, we didn't apply to many, it should be said, but we were completely snubbed by the ones that we did apply for. And the film was shot in Hong Kong while we were out there doing other things, and in London as well, which we went down to just to shoot a few cool scenes, really excellent scenes. And we did pick up scenes in Glasgow, and Brian ended up in LA, believe it or not, and he shot an additional end scene out there as well, which is excellent. And it was a truly international affair, but it was shot on a budget of, wait for it, another big question, the budget was zero. It was nothing. We shot it for nothing, although it has to be said, to be fair, that Black Camel in Glasgow came in on the back end of it and gave us $2,000 towards, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, I've said it now, hey-ho, towards post-production on it, and that was greatly appreciated, and that really lifted the whole film up. But it had considerable success, that film, on the international stage, but absolutely no, and down south as well, on a few festivals down south, but not in our home country, and that stung a little bit. And that's atypical of my experience of this sort of thing, although, again, There are exceptions to all this, and I must say that Edinburgh International Film Festival has been a tremendous support to me over the years, and I don't want to tarnish their reputation with this. They weren't offered it because it really didn't suit that festival, and maybe the timings didn't work or whatever, and that happened with a few festivals, which is why I only went into a few, and really the festivals we went for were smaller ones. Anyway, another example of this could be this podcast. Something like 0.5% of listeners are actually from Scotland. I can count them almost on the fingers of both hands of how many people I know actually listen. If you're local and you listen to this show, please get in touch. Please give me a shout out on social media. Craig, got in touch a couple of days ago and announced to me he'd listened to loads of shows. And that's a fantastic friend of mine, Craig, from Scottish Youth Theatre back in the day. And that was great to find out because there's so few of you out there. But again, although I just can't get people to listen to in great numbers in Scotland, there are a huge number of people listening internationally. And what's even worse than that is the number of people that I work with on a regular basis that listen to the show is in the region of none at all. I've twice gone to the bother of getting business cards printed up and even postcards printed up to promote the show. But I can tell you this. In fact, I used one of my... I raised money via an Indiegogo campaign to get these done both times. They were completely ineffectual. I'm never doing it again. It just absolutely disastrous. You know, just like many things trying to do promotion, I felt like I was pouring the money away in the end. But anyway, my handing a card to someone that I work with regularly with links to the show on it and great excerpts of reviews and 5 stars on it, all that sort of thing, is pretty much guaranteed to ensure that those people will never listen to the show. In my experience, that is. And if you're laughing because this sort of thing has happened to you, you are definitely not alone. It's so common that we've all probably experienced one or both sides of this, yet it can be exceptionally hard to defeat. And it can drive you bonkers because you're pretty sure that what you're sharing is worthwhile, what you're trying to do is worthwhile, if only you'd be taken seriously, that is. And this experience definitely sows seeds of doubt in our abilities, and that's really why I'm covering it here today. Haters only hate things they can't have and the people they can't be. It's just a little thing called jealousy. Lil Wayne, unquote. Now, I've been thinking about this, and I think there's kind of one overarching reason, but I'm going to say there's 2 reasons and detail one of them for this happening that I can identify. And if you think of more, please get in touch. But one of these is jealousy, and the other is, and the big one, the overreaching one, is familiarity. And it's been said that you can only be jealous of someone who has something you think you ought to have yourself, of course. There will always be peers that are jealous of your success or your hard effort. There are jealous people out there, and they will cause trouble, make up stories, and work behind your back to ensure that your success is limited, basically. And if they could, they'd have you magically disappear from their lives, possibly because you're just showing them up. Know that whoever is trying to bring you down is already below you. Boonaa Mohammed, unquote. And if jealousy is the first reason, then that is entirely born from, as I say, familiarity, which is the backbone of this whole thing. So if you find yourself getting nowhere with a project or an idea, or think that you are just not getting through to the people you know, you may just have to broaden your horizons. And this could be doing something like taking your podcast, say for example, and moving it from wherever it is at the moment onto YouTube possibly, or onto a broader platform again. It could mean that you need to stop aiming at a local audience and building your content just for that audience. And it could mean that you have to start courting an international audience and just thinking broader. I've worked abroad many times and I've always felt welcome there too. So if you really want to broaden your horizons, see what you can do internationally. You cannot swim for new horizons until you have courage to lose sight of the shore. William Faulkner, unquote. Taking your ideas or projects elsewhere may not make any difference if they are genuinely no good, of course, which I have to tell you folks, a lot of them may just be crap, but a new platform, a new place to take them, a new group of people to share them with will at least give you valuable feedback that's less biased than you might get from people that you know. It'll also help you to determine your ideas' worth and help you to honestly refine them. I hope that my tackling of this subject helps you realize that you're pretty normal for feeling this way and having these experiences. All of this won't make you any less frustrated when you experience things like this, but I do hope that this episode will at least let you know that you are not alone. And if you've liked what you've heard here and have an idea for a future episode, I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me via the official website at filmproproductivity.com/contact, or via Twitter at FilmProProdPod, or via Facebook at FilmProProductivity, where you can also leave reviews and things if you felt like it at FilmProProductivity on Facebook. And if you're struggling with something, there's a good chance that someone else is going to be struggling with that thing too. So I would love to hear from you. What's your problems that you're dealing with? Is there something you've had an epiphany on? Anything like that, fire me an email about it, and I'll try and deal with it in a future show, okay? And in next week's show, I'll be following the advice of one of my listeners and revisiting the subject of toxic people and how to deal with them. In the meantime, though, let me end with this old adage. I don't know the original source, but it's entirely relevant to today's discussion. And that adage is, don't go fishing where the fish don't bite. Now take control of your own destiny, keep on shooting, and join me next time on Film Pro Productivity and Success. The executive producer on this season is David Richard Thompson, and the music that you're listening to right now is Adventures by Ehimitsu. You can follow the show on Twitter at FilmProProdPod or on Facebook at FilmProProductivity. And there's also a full transcript of this episode and every episode only on the official website, FilmProProductivity.com. Please continue, folks, to support the show by subscribing, spreading the word, and leaving an awesome review. See you next time.